everybody, and welcome back to Mysteries of the Maw. Hope you're having a very spooky evening. We're back with episode 3. Last time, our detectives went and investigated the broken down facility, ended up running into a very scary tentacle creature that they ended up fighting. They found lots of corpses within the facility, perhaps that, revealing that everyone is dead. Dr. Nicolai spoke with a ghost who said some very ominous and scary things. And then after the battle with the creature, we had our friends go and search the rest of the facility and find a crystal that basically revealed that the crashed ship of the second shift that was missing, after it crashed, they had gone into the maw to seek shelter. The group, you are all recovering from the combat with the mysterious creature. The facility has fallen quiet, except for the sounds of the wind and the snow outside. We're going to kind of pick up just a little bit after the group has kind of come back together in the center of this central graveyard. And I will pass it to you. What would you like to do?
Well, the last thing was Mal seeing a thing, so I guess it's based on how Mal reacts, most likely. Well, some of us don't see this. We're in different rooms, but I just wanted to honor that.
Yeah, last I think that happened, Els went to go follow Branwen, and I think Mal's kind of followed after, but wasn't in the same room as us.
No,
so
Mal stopped because he saw his reflection smile at him and wave, and then point at the edge of the...
I don't even know if he's near any of us right now.
All right, so then, you know what? Let's start with Mal. Mal, after you saw someone familiar, what do you do?
I swallowed the cookie that I was just chewing on.
Nice.
And at this point in time, I think Mal, now fully grasping what he saw on the airship at night, when he first saw the dipping shadow, I think part of him thought he's exhausted, he's stressed, he's so overstimulated that he's seeing things, and he really didn't try to pay any mind to it. Now with the mirror, and now with potentially seeing somebody else out there, it's starting to sink in that he might be in a little over his head at this point in time. So trying to really grasp the madness of the situation, I want to go back and find anybody at this point in time, the closest person. I think I left Dr. Nicolai and Kreg back in the original area where we saw the ghost. You guys were kind of just chatting, doing your own thing.
Yes.
Els and Sydney, you guys left, and you guys were experiencing your own moment. I think I would probably lean more towards Els and Sydney, or Branwen right now, finding them.
Okay. So you continue down the hallway, and just, as you round the corner, leaving, this image, this thing that you saw at the edge of the hole behind, you see the two of them are in an office, just to the left.
I think Mal just kind of steps through, or stands at the doorframe, looking at both Els and Branwen. Not crying, but like you can clearly see that tears at one point were streaming down his face from a little bit earlier. And I think the only thing that he can muster to say is, I think we have to go down the mall now.
So you okay?
I don't think any of us are. I don't know what I saw. I don't know who I saw. I don't know anything from when we got off to when we got in here. And all I know is that I can depend on you guys. But I think I'm well in over my head. I think I'm losing it. Things that are there aren't there. I don't know if they're real. I've seen my own reflection stop. I've seen things that nobody should probably see. But whatever is here needs us to go down there. I'm just going to find a seat, and I just kind of sit at whatever table Bronwyn's at. And I'm just gonna just fidget with my lighter and with my gun.
Mal, we found something too. And Branwen is going to brandish the crystal that they found with a message on it. She's not going to play the message, however. The reality of this mission is much darker than we realized. And whatever you're seeing is playing a part in that. We, all of us, so we should regroup.
On it! And you see Els just kind of skitter out to go get Kreg and Dr. Nicolai.
Right. I forgot she can do that.
Does it ever
Mal,
get easier to watch her scurry away?
can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What are you doing here?
I think Mal chews on the silence for a second. I'm here to make sure that we can get out whoever was left behind and to bring people home.
But who are you with?
I think Mal stands up. He's like, I'm not with anybody. I'm just looking out for people who weren't able to be looked out after.
Branwen stands up too and gets right in front of you. I need you to be with us.
I respect you because you're the one person here so far, aside from Els, that seems to be at least aware of other people in the party. The suit cares about the bottom dollar. Dr. Nicolai can't get a beat on the guy. I don't mind him. But you're here to protect. And I can get along with that. So.
That's good. I had a much different perspective when we got here. But we need to be able to trust each other. Because at this point, we're all we have left.
I don't know who we're going to find. But I came here with the four of you, and I'm hoping to leave with the four of you. If not more.
Good. Branwen's gonna sit back down and wait for the rest of the people to show up.
Okay. Yes, so Els, you make your way back into the common area where we get to Dr. Nicolai and Kreg. As you see Els scuttle back into the room.
I always imagine Stitch when she scutters.
Literally.
Same. It's
Yeah.
very Stitch-like movements.
Yeah.
Yes, very much so. So Els kind of like skitters in, and she's still like holding the little box thing that has that piece of the moving black ichor.
Yes.
So she's like semi-skittering, and she comes in and she's like, "Moneyman, Dr. Nicolai, we must regroup. We cannot be apart too long. This way." And she starts like slowly like skittering back, but just like watching to see if you guys kind of follow her.
Dr. Nicolai, Kreg, do you follow?
Is Nico still on the ground? I feel like I remember Dr. Nicolai, like...
He took a knee. He took a knee because he exerted a lot of effort, a lot of presence, and he's kind of recouping.
No.
He has slowly gotten up by this point, but you can see where the tentacle monster nasty thing hit him. He's kind of just like rubbing that area. But as he rubs it, he's holding his crystal in his other hand, and that kind of fractal kind of power. It's like kind of going over it, almost soothing it, almost like a metaphysical Bengay type of like ointment type of vibe that he's trying to give to himself, as I'm going to use magic to heal one harm.
Nice.
I'll roll that, but at least that's my intention. Oh, Jesus, yes. That is... Oh, Jesus, yes. That's a 13.
Oh yeah. So heal 2 harm. Heal 2 harm.
Jesus.
Fantastic.
Dude, magical Bengay for the win, dude.
Yes.
Right?
But he just kind of does that, and you hear like some bones kind of pop back into place. And I will be there in just a moment.
Mm. That is a valuable trick. I hope we may not need it again. And I just kind of nod to your now healing shoulder.
You kind of see he takes his arm away, but those fractal elements are kind of like cracking and kind of going over. You kind of look at it; it's like oscillating like stained glass. I am not the foolish type. I'm sure it'll happen again if it happens so quickly, especially if we have to go into the space where this might have come from. But I hope next time it isn't as potent, I guess.
Agreed. Well, for now I agree with Els. We must regroup with the rest before we make any further choices. Come. And I start following Els.
As she's backing up, like still looking at you, she goes, "Keep your mind sharp. Mal says he saw things. Whether or not they're real, we don't know."
I'm going to just pause for just a moment to look where I saw Piet. I don't remember if they are gone or if they walked away, or
They walked away.
they walked away. Okay,
Yep.
yeah. Just kind of look into the direction that I saw them go and just kind of sigh. And whisper to himself, I hope you know what you want here. And you will follow.
Okay. So you all are now together in the in that office space, which is not a huge office, and as we described last time, it's a very bare office. You know, lots of furniture turned over, things thrown all around. It's like a desk and a single chair. It's you know, it's pretty frozen, pretty dank and covered in ice and snow in here. But you are all met once again.
I want to approach Mal.
Okay.
Put some respect on my name.
Els said you saw something.
Yeah.
What did you see?
It started the other night when we were flying in. I was in my quarters going through my papers, and I figured it was fatigue, stress, maybe a little bit of paranoia. But when I looked out the window, I could see something in the clouds. And again, I thought, I'm just tired. But it wasn't until this hallway, well, to be fair, it wasn't until you see half a man lodged in a doorway, and then a blob try to choke a doctor out. And then you think, maybe I wasn't imagining things. But, while we all took the time to lick our wounds, I stopped by one of the hallways, and my reflection stopped, froze, looked at me, mocked me. I don't know. I don't know. But I looked past the tundra, and one of these survivors, I'm assuming one of the survivors, threw themselves into the maw.
That brings me to my next point, unless you have anything else, Kreg.
No.
Branwen's gonna pull out the crystal again. And she's going to play it once more for everybody now that they're all in the room.
So you all hear the same recording of the man basically, saying that we crashed and we needed to find shelter. It somehow got on the ship. We're gonna have to go into the maw. We're taking the survivors and we're going into the maw. And this survivor, this guy, he's a soldier of some sort or a pilot, who knows? But he's in a uniform. He basically goes on to describe how him and the rest of the survivors from the crash went into the maw to get away from the elements and what was on the ship.
So in my mind, we have two options, right? We go back to the ship. We deal with whatever possibly could be living on it at this point. We try and phone for help and we try to get out of here. Or we continue on with our mission. We go into the maw and we deal with whatever is left.
Any attempt to leave this place would mean any survivors here are being put at more risk, and we lose the chance to save anybody. And with the ship having taken as much damage, I don't even know if we can leave. So, it sounds like we go in.
Just to clarify as player knowledge, the recording mentioned that the ship had been compromised, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Their ship, the basically the shift change ship, had crashed somewhere on the other side of the maw because it was compromised. There was something on the ship.
Do we happen? Maybe this might be something for Els that could be investigated. But would I happen to know if this ship was coming to the maw and was compromised, or was coming from the maw and was compromised?
Coming from the maw. So essentially, it was the shift change ship. It was the ship that never returned. The ship that left to come pick up the crew and then switch out. Leave the current crew and then take the crew that's been there for weeks home.
Okay, so with that player knowledge,
I may only be a technologist, but if we are to go into the maw, we should research everything we can. I vote we go to the compromised ship. We should not go into the belly of the beast unless we know where to stab it.
You want to walk to the other side?
It would potentially prove useful to know why they were compromised. Give us more intelligence before we go inside, because I have an unfortunate theory that if there is something within, it's not just more than what we can handle, it's more than what the world potentially can handle. So I want us to go in with as much metaphorical ammunition as we can.
Really quickly, the crystal, did it say that all the survivors went down into the maw?
Yes, anybody who survived the crash, they took shelter within the maw from the elements.
I also have a quick question for you, Alec. Am
Yes.
I still feeling called by the maw?
Yes. It's like a gentle thrum in the back of your head, just like like somebody is just lightly hitting a snare drum, just in the other room.
Yeah.
The little drummer boy is in the maw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Bum 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 bum.
I was about to... God.
And copyright.
No.
I think that's public domain now. And you continue.
Anyways,
I kind of lean into that feeling,
okay.
and I just kind of let it resound in the back of my skull.
Give me a read a bad situation.
All right. 7 on the dot.
7 on the dot. So you get one question.
One question. What question do I want
Best
to
way
ask?
in, best way out. Are there any dangers we haven't noticed? What's the biggest threat? What's most vulnerable to me, etc. Or if there's something more specific you want to know, ask away.
All right. I actually want to know what is the best way to protect the victims, and the victims I'm imagining are the survivors.
So in your mind, like with this information that they took shelter within the maw, and Mal said that he saw someone at the edge of the maw and they fell into the maw, that this group of people thought that going in there was the best option. And if Mal saw someone, that means they're surviving in there. So the maw seems to be the safest place for the victims, at least for now, until you can get them out.
Okay, with that knowledge, I believe that is the best course of action, is to find whatever compromised their vessel. If Mal, you indeed saw someone, if they survived the fall into the maw, and if the rest of the survivors believed it to be their safest bet, then they should survive until we retrieve them. And so I don't believe we are in a, as they say, time crunch, necessarily, as far as the survivability of the survivors goes.
Question for you, Kreg.
Yes.
Your whole point for being here is stems from the banks, correct?
That is correct.
And you're to make sure that the assets are protected and whatnot?
That is correct.
What would you do if you went back and you told your boss that this was a lost cause? That we tried, that the base was destroyed, that the ship was destroyed? How would your boss react to that?
Knowing my employer, simply put, all funding for any further ventures like this would not be provided by the banks.
So in that case, wouldn't your job here be done? You did your assessment. Why are you still here? When you know it's dangerous.
Can I have Branwen roll sharp?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's a very scary thing to just ask someone.
I thought we were cool.
No. We're about to die. Everything needs to be out on the table. Okay. I can't do basic math.
Who can?
Excuse me. While I pull up
Yet
my...
we play games that constantly make us do math.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. You said sharp?
Yes.
Nah. That's a 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
Simply put, I'm stuck until we leave. I simply find survivability with the group to be my best bet of leaving here alive. And so I don't imagine all of you would want to abandon the people inside the mall. And so therefore I must stick with you.
Let's talk brass tacks for a hot second, okay?
Of course.
We almost died. This recording alludes to a much larger issue than we could have ever anticipated. And as Dr. Nicolai says, we don't have a lot of information. We need more. I need to make sure because you are my responsibility. That everyone on this team is on the same page. Because if we're not, we are in even more danger. We need to be able to rely on each other and make sure that no matter what, we are going to get out of here alive.
I walk right up to Branwen. You have my word. I will do whatever I can to assist and to save both the survivors and all of you should that event arise. And I hold out my hand with a open palm.
Mal doesn't trust Kreg. Can he roll a sharp during this interaction to see if I can get a beat on the guy?
Sure. Branwen, do you shake Kreg's hand?
You know, if there's any of the beast form that's still left within her, like
I
claws.
think it's always like slightly there. There's always just a little extra oomph.
Extra oof.
Well, oomph.
She's gonna take his hand. She's gonna grip it really tight. And she's gonna look at him, dead in his eyes. And she said, the second that I think that you're lying to me, you know it's coming.
So, Branwen, when you squeeze his hand, which normally you've brought many a man to kneel, like by just applying pressure, Kreg doesn't even it doesn't even feel like you can't even feel like his bones moving under the pressure of your strength. Like it's almost like it's as strong as you are, perhaps.
Ooh, that does something. Ah, not like that. Not like that.
I did say bring
No.
many men to kneel.
Right.
Jesus.
No, because Branwen remembers the exchange that they had when they first met. And she told him not to underestimate her, and then she was completely useless in the battle, while meanwhile he did a great job. So, as she takes his hand and squeezes and feels that inner strength, she doubles down and glares and goes, we need you. As much as I don't like it. So please, don't make me do anything stupid.
Unblinking, Kreg just looks at you, matching your gaze dead in the eye, and says, it is not within my power to prevent stupidity.
Oh.
But
Mal, go ahead and give me that sharp roll once Kreg stopped talking.
yeah.
That's an 11.
Kreg, I'll give it up to you. Were you being forthright?
Mal, what you get with how Kreg is presenting and with what he has said so far, you get the sense that he is telling the truth, that he will do what he can to help. But that's not it.
As this is happening,
Yes.
I there's a lot of, for lack of a better word, testosterone. That's a lot of oomph, I'm gonna call it. To not
Oomph.
give it a gender, because oomph has no gender.
Oomph.
But there's a lot of that happening, and that's just so beneath Nikolai that but he's kind of like not beneath in the sense that like it's lesser than him, but it's so irrelevant to him. Strength does not matter to him. Either way, he kind of starts to zone off. And what he's going to do is just kind of just step back out of the room. Because I assume, Mal, you mentioned the things that happened to you, correct?
Right.
Yeah. He's going to go to that mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Is it broken or is it intact?
You see the mirror is intact. For Mal, it was broken.
Okay.
The mirror is intact when you look at it.
He's going to take his elbow and shatter the mirror.
Okay. Yeah, easily. The mirror shatters. You all hear this mirror shatter and all the pieces clattering to the ground.
He's going to take one of the pieces, just kind of inspect it enough, maybe like that big of a piece or whatever. He's going to bring it back into the room. And as they're still having their moment, however it takes, he's just going to saddle next to Mal and say, I request some of your blood. Please.
Mal definitely was like halfway out of his chair due to Kreg approaching Branwen and Mal just not liking him and trying to get a beat on the guy when you come back and sit down. And halfway he stops and just turns back and looks at you like, what the fuck did you just say to me?
Sometimes we need totems or something physical to do the things that I can do. And I believe, since you have seen a bit of your literal ichor, could be useful.
Right. Now, most times when somebody asks for my blood, it's usually outside of a bar, and it's usually because they've pissed me off. So let me get this. You need just blood.
However you wish to allow me to attain it, yes. Though, and he just holds up the glass, this would be the easiest way. And you could tell there's like...
It's all academic.
It's all academic, yeah. It's all like...
There's no subtext.
Yeah.
No, yeah. No, I kind of... Okay, Mal's... Hold on. Mal chews on it for a second, and he realizes, academically speaking, nobody's ever been like, hey, can I just get some blood? So he's pushes himself away from whatever little stool he was sat on, stands up and throws his leg up, just Captain Morgan's it on the table, and he's like, I don't know if you remember, I got stabbed earlier. Does that work?
That would be more than enough. And I'm going to reach down where...
it's just a bandage that Els, I think, wrapped around me earlier.
Yeah.
I'm going to carefully unwrap it, like a doctor when they're inspecting to see how something has healed. They're not going to make it super messy, so they're going to respectfully unwrap it. See some of the blood still there, maybe a little coagulated or whatever at this point. Just take a little bit onto like the edge of the blade of the glass, rewrap it, and say, "Thank you. Back to your verbal sparring match." I'm just going to step to a corner. I'm going to respectfully take the other side of the glass and nick myself. And as I do, I'm going to concentrate on that as I use that to trigger my premonition.
Okay.
Interesting. By the way, at this point in time, Mal doesn't give a shit about Kreg or Branwen because he has no idea what you're doing with his blood. So I'm just watching you.
Your eyes kind of glaze over.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the sound of like creaking and... Well, yeah, go ahead and roll for it.
Yeah,
Don't you need to roll for it?
Yeah. I was like, just tell me everything.
Before I give this to you for free. Hold on.
Don't do that. That is a 11.
Okay, I gotta give it to you for free anyways. So you're surrounded by darkness, and you hear the sound of creaking and straining metal. And this air is thick with this, like, salty, this very, very, like, thick salt smell with the mixed in of, like, rotten eggs. And it's like, it's so thick you can taste it on your tongue. And as you begin to, like, walk through this space, you can hear and feel a solid metal floor underneath you. And there's little, flashes of light here and there as lights up on the top kind of, buzz and crackle in this metallic space that you found yourself in. But the more you look around, the more you see these, like, almost, like, deep black root, like, structures all over the place, climbing up the walls, climbing up the floors and the ceilings, and they just pulse ever so slightly. And each step you take, you get that familiar feeling that you're being watched. The hair on the back of your neck stands up as chills run down your arms and your body as you feel all the hair begin to stand on end. As the sense of dread and foreboding begins to wash over you, the shadows shifting and moving, and you begin to continue to navigate your way a little bit more hurriedly through this metallic space, passing what looks like broken consoles and, torn open containers. And you make your way into a central chamber where you see there's a main chair in the middle and all of these other consoles kind of around it, and more sets of chairs in front of each one of those consoles. And everything's broken and tattered and torn in some way, shape, or form. The walls in here are covered thick with slime. This dark black ichor kind of seems to drip from everywhere. And as you approach, you hear a faint whispering, the sound of multiple voices seeming to have a conversation. And when you make your way to the center console, all the voices stop. And with a trembling hand, you reach out to the console, and suddenly the whispers return to screams, and you're back in the space.
What was that?
A sight, a connection to the power that I wield, and at times it speaks to me, not literally, but I can. Have you ever, as a kid, taken a cup with string, double-ended, and gave it to your friend to attempt to have a conversation with them?
I imagine I would if I had friends growing up.
Mal hears that and his heart breaks a little.
Picture that, but with the raw essence of power itself. But the connection is never straight. It's never a narrow line. It can twist and weave and tell you whatever it wants to tell you. And sometimes I can force it, sometimes I can't. I wanted to get a read on whatever Mal saw, or whatever connection, whatever touched his spirit, and we need to be prepared when we go down.
Mal places a hand on your shoulder, kind of steadying you if you were kind of off balance in any way, shape, or
It
form.
tenses a little bit, but not really.
Okay.
Still looking enough.
And Mal asks, in this analogy of yours, are you the cup or the string? And what I mean is, are you receiving a message or are you just passing it along?
Neither, both. I'm the one who wields the cup and the string. I'm a receiver, but also I give reality to what shouldn't exist. I don't have the complete answer, but I have seen there's voices whisperings. Perhaps in the center apparatus, within the belly of the ship, or whatever is down within the maw.
Could you see anybody?
Shadows. Moving, but nothing physical to comprehend. Question.
Yes.
Did the metal floor and the center apparatus, did it feel like I was looking at another ship, or did it feel like I'm looking at a facility?
It felt like you were in. Answer me this: has Dr. Nicolai ever been aboard a battleship before?
Hmm?
Like a warship?
I'm going to answer this in the best way that I can for you to understand. If someone else has in his life, then perhaps as a kid he has. But I wouldn't say in his adult life.
In your adult life, you've never been on a ship like that before, but you've been on a ship. You've been on a vessel before that is similar in grandeur and scale. So it didn't feel like a facility, it felt more like a vessel.
But it also didn't necessarily feel like a ship or something that, like, for instance, the one we are on, that we came on.
Correct.
And potentially the one that's across the way.
It felt more in its layout, less like a transport and more militaristic.
Okay. And we also know there was technically a war here in the past.
Yes, that's the Maw was created by a rebellion ship from the people of Novum battling two collective ships, and then essentially he rammed the rebellion ship rammed itself into the other two ships, and they all crashed, exploded, and basically burrowed into the earth, which is what created this crater, this Maw.
I believe we're going to find many answers within the Maw. But whatever is down there is sentient, active, I'm unsure. But it communicates, it speaks, and when I got too close in my state, it latched out.
So, down the rabbit hole or across the...
As y'all are having your serious moment, you just hear just things being overturned in the office where Els is scrounging supplies. Because in her mind, she heard 3 votes for the contaminated ship. So as you guys were having your brawl and Nikolai was having his premonition, she's just over in the corner just scrounging for food, potentially some jackets for the hike to the next alien ship. She's in like problem-solving mode. Kind of
preparation mode.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, roll me sharp.
Ooh, 12.
12. So with a 12, you don't find food, per se, or any like perishables or anything like that. But what you do find is you find like basically what looks to have been a first aid kit that was left, and you also find a flare gun.
These will come in handy. Are you all done now?
Yes. It's kind of like I hear a loud pop in his neck.
I retract my hand, kind of grossed out.
It didn't seem like unnatural. It was just a loud, crack.
Yeah. Quick question. The current facility that we're in.
Correct.
How big is it? Is it multiple rooms? Is it just a couple rooms? Is it just this main entrance area?
It used to be quite large.
Okay.
It used to be quite large, but the majority of it was, from what you discovered last episode, that
Right.
something exploded from the inside, and a large majority of it had gone into the maw. So basically, like this front area, this front lobby with this kind of meeting area and this like the couple offices that you guys went through is all that's really left.
Then it sounds like we've decided where we're going. I just need a second. And I want to go around really quickly, and with the files that I've kept, I want to try to match whatever bodies I have left or are left with the profiles that I've kept on me. Whatever I can distinguish, whether it's a serial number on a badge or anything.
So you're able to distinguish a couple of the employees from the files that you got. But the realization sets in after you try to, like, you get one after a while, then you get two, and then, like, you're looking at these, like, torn apart remains and stuff, and you're not sure, like, if this kind of frozen, decayed
after the
body.
third or fourth one, I'm like kind of just in a corner, like kind of just bent over, kind of heaving a little bit, be like, all right. Yeah. No good deed, right? And then I'm just going to start shoveling whatever supplies I can find.
Okay. All right. What is everybody else doing?
I turn back to... I turn back to Branwen, just as a final note. I understand your distrust. But if there's any way I can alleviate that, I promise I will do what I can. And as a show of good faith. You see him reach into his jacket, and he just pulls out what looks to be a very fine necklace. There's no special locket or anything. There's nothing really attached to it. It's just a fine silver chain.
What significance does this have, and why do I care about it?
This was the last thing I made. From a time long ago. When I had skill that rivaled many of the great craftsmen. It was made for someone else.
Does it produce fire?
No. It is purely
Then it is
sentimental
not
in value.
helpful here.
You're right. It is
Els-
not.
Els, it's okay. Thank you, Els. I appreciate you very much. Bronwyn walks up a little closer to Kreg. I forgot he's taller than her. And gets close enough, only that he can hear. She takes the silver chain. She weighs it, puts it around her neck. I see you. I get it. And you know what? That took a lot for you, and I don't even need to do a special roll. I can just tell. I'll do you one better. And she uses one of her razor-sharp claws to cut out one lock of her hair. They say that if the Fae gives you a token, you shouldn't lose it. She hands it to him. So don't fuck it up.
Kreg very gingerly takes it, and there's like a slight just touch as he takes it from your hand. I swear I'll never lose this. And he just very carefully tucks it into his jacket. And you almost see like him pat it down to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Walks away.
Very nice. Okay. All right. So you all have been discussing kind of your plan here and there. You have noticed now, you would all see it. It's like the daylight has begun to lessen outside. It's beginning to get darker and darker.
I think Mal's next to El's trying to scrounge for stuff, and he's grabbing random things that he's finding. He's like, polythyroyellow Is that? I don't know what that is. Is that? Okay, she's taking that. We're taking the alcohol, right?
Yes, do you have a lighter?
Do you need a Bunsen burner?
I don't have a gas outlet down there. No.
Okay, chuck shit aside. He's got a backpack of just random things that Els has shoved into his fucking sack. Like, look, you produced a fireball out of a bag. At this point in time, you're one of 3 people in this crew that I trust.
You get 2 trust points.
I will take that.
I hope it is reciprocated.
Could I either read a bad situation or investigate a mystery to determine how to best navigate the elements outside so we can successfully get to the ship?
So go ahead and give me read a bad situation.
Okay. I have a +2 to that.
Is there such thing as giving a help action?
I rolled well. I
okay.
have a 5 and a 6, so 11 plus 2 is a 13.
Damn.
Hey.
So you know it's gonna be a couple-hour trek across the tundra to get to the other side of the maw. Especially with the level of snow that is outside, just the general conditions. Also, it's getting darker, so it's getting colder. So you would know that generally, which you already all have your winter gear that you brought with you.
No.
So, you could make it. But if the weather gets any worse, you're probably going to be in trouble.
Are there any winterized vehicles?
Not around. Yeah.
Can Els make one?
I technically have our ship because it had a rough landing but didn't crash.
Yeah, it had rough landing and there was some issues with the engines and the captain and the crew said that.
I have a workshop.
You do? Back on the ship.
I have a car.
I have a car.
I don't think I brought it.
How far is the other ship from where we are?
So your ship or the crashed ship that you're going to be looking for. Yeah. So from what the recording said, is that it crashed somewhere on the other side of the maw from where you are.
And the maw is big.
The maw is massive, so it's going to take you like a half day's walk to get over there.
Okay.
Like with the elements essentially added in, with the cold and everything like that. Yeah.
With my 13 roll, am I able to determine if it is safer to go when it is daylight out? Like, obviously we're in a storm, so like daylight is still maybe semi-light.
So just generally with your 13, because of like the Arctic conditions, going during the day is much safer than going at night because the temperatures are going to drop rapidly once the sun has completely gone down.
Okay. So I think with that, after I found the med kit, the flare gun,
flare gun, yeah.
I think I'm going to go back to the group or I think I'm still in the room. I just turned around and I just
You've
see
just been rummaging.
Branwen. I just see Branwen and Kreg just like super close together, and I'm just like,
I think that we should go back to our ship so I can construct some mobile devices for us to get to the other crash ship. It is getting dark, and I don't think we are set or even strong enough to handle below 0-degree weather.
Okay. I trust your judgment. Anybody else have anything else they want to bring up?
I think as he was coming back to out of his premonition, he just kind of he found something to kind of wrap where he nicked himself. Not really too bad, but just enough. But he kind of watches the moment and watches kind of all of these. It is almost as if these lines are starting to form for him through this metaphysical space of the connections that are bonding or not bonding, or the different color. He's just starting to notice things. And he's pretty quiet, but he just says, I believe that would be the most interesting, or not interesting. I believe that would be the best course of action. Let's not travel too much during this time, especially if we don't have the means to protect ourselves or deal with this weather.
Then back to the ship.
So you all begin to make your way back to the ship as you leave the basically the very small amount of shelter that this broken facility gave you back into the elements to head towards your kind of not crashed but scuttled ship. Mal, please roll me a sharp roll, please.
Sharpie. That's a 10.
A 10. So as you're making your way with the group, trudging your way through the snow and through the light blizzard, you hear a voice in the distance behind you that goes, Mal? Is that you, Mal?
Do I recognize that voice?
You recognize that voice.
I stop. I would have been kind of in the back of the group.
It's coming from behind you.
Yeah, no, I would have been in the back of whatever line we had as we were heading back. But I whip around.
And you see standing just at the edge of the maw is that same figure you saw. Going, Mal? Mal, is that you?
Ben?
Mal!
I take off my backpack. I don't run, but I can feel the fear and the desperation both inside of me fighting, but I do start walking and start picking up pace. Ben, is that?
Yeah, Mal, come on. Mal, you got to meet the others. Come on. And you see he's just kind of waving down into the maw.
I probably get about 5 to 10 feet in.
Like, so essentially do you make your way to the maw, to the edge of the maw? And I'll let everybody respond here in a moment. Just 1 sec.
I don't get within. I don't get any closer than 10 or 15 feet of this person.
So you see him standing basically like at the top of the maw on what looks like a ramp that seems like a path that's been carved out into the inside of it.
Sure.
That's curving down. And he goes, "Come on, it's safer in here, Mal."
No.
Ben, we gotta go.
We got to get everybody else first. We have wounded.
He takes another step. He's like, Ben, and he's fighting. He's struggling between what he knows he should do. He's like, Benny, there's people there. We can help them, but you've got to come with us first. We can get supplies and we can come back down. But Ben, we gotta go.
I can't leave them, Mal. I can't leave them alone. And then
Mal doesn't have.
Oh, go ahead, Mal. Go ahead.
I was gonna say Mal doesn't have the strength to do what he knows he wants to do. So he's gonna take out his gun and he's gonna shoot it in the air in hopes of getting the group's attention.
Yeah. You all will turn and you see Mal standing about 5-10 feet from the maw and firing his gun in the air. But none of the rest of you see anyone standing there.
Mal's back away! Back to the ship!
If Els is on Bronwyn's shoulders like she was in the previous episode, Branwen is going to, as gently as she can, but with much haste, put her on the ground, go beast form, and charge.
Okay. So as the gun gets fired, is there anything else anybody wants to do when in response to this?
I think I will also try to go after her, but I am very short in a bunch of snow. I will be swimming through, just being like, Mouse, back to the ship! Get away!
Not to try to map this out, but how far are our party originally from where the mall is?
You guys were essentially this was the facility, right? Maw is here, right? Mm-hmm. You guys are about out here, so maybe 60 feet from him, because he got pretty close to it.
And that okay. That was my thing, because I was going to say I'm probably in front of Mal, because I intentionally was going to put myself in the back, but to respect what Mal said, I was going to put them second, and there's almost no way he would let him get that far. But he probably was too unfocused. He just kind of turns around, seeing what's going on, hearing the gunshot, thinking about what has already happened, even after the fight. You can see fractal form starting to form around his hands, but it looks unstable. Perhaps reacting out of a different emotion other than focus. And he just says, "We need to get back to the ship."
And Ben says to you, Mal, and goes, "Your friends can come too. I mean, you don't want them to take you away from me, right? We just got back together. Let's go meet my friends. You got to meet Grandfather."
Gun's still in the air. He's like, Benny, Grandpa's back. Grandpa's gone.
No, we just call him Grandfather. You got to come meet him.
Benny,
you gotta come meet him, Mal.
Ben?
You gotta come meet him, Mal. Go ahead and roll me a act under pressure, please. And then I'm gonna let everybody kind of swoop in here.
Ooh.
Drop my die. That is an 11.
An 11.
You rolled 11s all night. Fuck.
As you're staring at him, you can see almost uncanny valley feeling sets in, where now that you're focusing on him, you're seeing that he's just close enough to your brother to look like him, but there's something off. There's something wrong with this thing before you. It's not your brother.
I start backpedaling slowly.
Mal, where you going, Mal?
You son of a bitch.
Don't you want to be with your brother, Mal?
I bring the gun back down at him.
Is that how you treat family, Mal?
I let a round go.
And then it vanishes. as the bullet passes through, as this beast form comes right past you, and then slowly behind Els in the snow.
Mal, drops to his knees. Gun still straight, just bawling at this point. Oh. Throws the gun in front of him and just kind of throws his head in his hands and just wails, just a painful, wounded animal cry.
Struggle. Mouse! 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 And I just kind of like grip onto you. Not here! In the ship! Not here! And I'm gonna try and manipulate person to get him up.
Roll me 2d6 plus charm. Branwen, what are you doing when you get there? You crash in. Actually, can you give me a read a bad situation, Branwen, as soon as you get there?
You got it. Okay.
As a quick note, Kreg is just walking over.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to ask Nikolai, have you walked up as well?
He has not taken a step.
Got it. Cool.
But he is watching, and his eyes are like fractaling over.
Got it. What'd you roll, Branwen?
I rolled a 10.
A 10. So you get to ask me 3 questions. So you can ask me any of these or ones of your choice, and I'm also going to give you a little extra on top. There's what's best way in, best way out, dangers you haven't noticed, biggest threat, what's most vulnerable to me, and what's the best way to protect the victims. You can ask any of those or any more specific questions, but you get 3.
Right, we haven't realized yet.
Okay.
Protect the victims. And... Oof. I will... How about... Let's throw some spice in there for fun. How close are we to answers?
Okay. So the first thing is the threat you haven't noticed. That was the first one, right?
Yeah.
So in nature, there's a pecking order, right? Mm-hmm. And animals are all aware of this pecking order, and there's this sense where there's almost like sixth sense that animals have through the combination of smells, sight and hearing, when a bigger predator than them is around, a more dangerous predator than them is near. And getting close to the edge of this maw, even, you're not even in it, you're like 10 feet. It's like you can almost feel like if you had a tail, it'd be tucked between your legs. Something in there, is a big enough threat that you can feel it from a distance. Your other question is the best way out, or the best way to protect the victims. Mm-hmm. Get the hell back to the ship. Get the hell back to the ship. You are all too weak from your first encounter with whatever that was out here. And with Mal in this situation now, getting back to the ship. How close are you to answers? So on top of that, almost cowing feeling that comes, it sinks into your stomach as the realization that you are not going to get the answers you need about what's happening here until you go in.
Okay. At this point in time, I would like to... Els is pulling at Mal. Branwen, without... Let me know if this is okay with you.
Go ahead.
Branwen's going to pick Els up, put her on her back, still in monster form, and she's going to scoop Mal in her arms, meet up with the rest of the people that are still on their way, and run back to the ship.
Yes, Kreg.
Mal dropped his gun.
He did.
I walk over And my intention of walking over, I walk past Mal as Branwen picks him up. I simply just pick up his gun and follow after Branwen.
Okay. Nikolai, what are you doing?
There's a moment that he's almost like not frozen. He doesn't seem like frozen. He doesn't seem under duress. Well, however you want to rate it, it's up to you. But he just is just paused, watching, looking at them all, watching them all chaotically scramble back to the ship. Watching Kreg even go by, and there's a moment where he actually looks at Kreg. You see, Kreg is the only one he actually like actively attempts to look at for a moment, but then he just looks back at them all, his own fractal power starting to dull. Another very loud sigh, and the almost pensive academic form that typically sits upon his face shifts to not a scowl, perhaps disappointment, perhaps annoyance, but more importantly, it shifts to a place that hasn't been seen yet, and it's one of intensity and a sense of, I probably got to do something by myself without these people because they don't know what the hell they're doing. It is a focus that just hasn't been seen on him. And he just literally does an about face, almost military-like, and walks back.
Okay. You all make your way back onto the ship, and the captain's there, and it goes, "So, how was it?"
Has the captain noticed that Bronwyn's still in her beast form?
He's read your files.
All right. Bronwyn does not answer him and storms immediately to Mal's room. Opens the door with the best of her ability and puts Mal down on his bed, with Elle still on her back.
Okay.
Elle's just like quietly climbs off and just kind of like quietly skitters away to start working on the mobile devices.
Okay. Mal?
Kreg,
Oh, yeah. Go ahead, Kreg.
Kreg walks up to the captain, just says, "It went poorly."
Well, shit. All right. Well, come on in. We'll close up the hatch and get you all a meal and get you warm.
There's something out there. We ran into a creature that...
Creature?
It caused us great harm. It is powerful and deadly. I advise that you keep no less than 4 individuals up to keep watch.
All right. Well, I'll take a look at the shifts and make some changes.
I'm willing to take one. I will stay up as long as you need me.
Understood.
I give just a small nod, and I'm going back up to the prow of the ship.
Yeah.
Back outside.
Okay.
And I'm just looking.
Okay. I'm going to get to you, Kreg, in a second. Mal's, what are you doing after you've been set down in the bed?
Mal is just crying, but it's not that loud, sad, mournful cry. It's that crying when you're so mad that it's the only thing you can think to do. It's when you're just so he's angry. He's angry at himself. Mal goes to the foot of his bed pops open whatever storage container that he had, and starts pulling out the flask that he brought with him, and he just starts going to town. I think he just wants to not see that face that was kind of seared into his brain, that was but wasn't who he wanted it to be.
Right.
So he's just gonna hang out for a little bit and get a little shwasted.
Branwen.
I'm still there.
You are? Yeah, so he just grabs his flask and just starts drinking.
Ooh. And he's doing that. Bronwyn's trying to come down from her panic and her beast form, which you will notice it can be very difficult for her to do, especially if she is not careful and does it out of panic, which just happened. So she's sitting in a chair watching you go to town on this alcohol, and she's sitting there just gripping her nails into the bed of this chair and scraping up the wood as if she's trying so hard not to claw your throat out. And she's panting. She goes, Mal, I need you to look at me. And she gets smaller and smaller until she turns into the form that you know the most. And she gets up. She goes over to you. She snatches the drink right out of your hand. She screws the cap on and she throws it across the room. I don't know what you saw. I'm sorry for whatever it was. Now is not the time to lose yourself.
Mal's upset that you took his flask.
This is fair.
He just instinctively steps into you and gets right in your face. Face red hot, fists clenched, breathing, trying to center himself. Thank you for bringing me here. Get out of my room. He goes, grabs his flask, and just sits on his bed. He doesn't open it again. But he doesn't stare at you. He doesn't look at you. He has this fire hot stare just at the wall as he's just trying to calm his breathing.
Fine. Do whatever you want to do. I'll talk to you later. If you're sober enough to speak. And she leaves.
Damn.
Dr. Nicolai.
I threw my flask at her. Not to hit her, but just where she was after she leaves. I just fucking chuck it.
Got it. Dr. Nicolai, where'd you go after you got back on the ship?
Quiet still. He will watch them all split off to who knows where. Also noting that no one technically officially not disbanded the group, but there was no sense of I'll see you all later. Everybody just kind of went off to do their own thing. Another thing he's noted. He'll probably, put on that very doctorate way of greeting people, turning that side of him on for a bit as he eventually gets back to his room, closes his room, locks it, and he's going to make a call.
Okay. We're going to get to your call in a moment. I'm going to get to Kreg on the prow of the ship. So Kreg, you get out to the prow of the ship, and it's starting to get dark. There's still some sunlight. The wind and the snow is still blowing. It's gotten a lot colder. Even in the moments that it took you to get from the facility, the little scuffle by the edge of the maw to here, it's already gotten a lot colder. For you, it's not so bad. Go ahead and give me a 2d6 plus sharp, please.
That is another 7 on the dot.
7 on the dot. So as you're because you're just looking around, right?
I'm out there looking directly at the maw.
So you're looking at the maw and you're staring into it. And then just something just kind of catches your eye. And your eyes move from the maw and you look there's a shadow. The ship looks like it's casting a shadow in front of you, but the sun is there, which doesn't make any sense. Because to cast a shadow that way, the sun should be behind you, right? To cast the shadow forward. And the more you look at it, it looks like the shadow, the size of the ship. It's humanoid shaped. And this humanoid shaped shadow is just being cast over the ship. And then you kind of blink your eyes a few times and it's no longer there.
I'm gonna go find Branwen.
Okay. I'm gonna cut now over to Els in their workshop. So you have begun to work. What kind of mobile device are you trying to construct? Are you trying to construct a vehicle that can transport everybody, or a bunch for individuals?
I'm probably going for something similar to a snowmobile. So it could probably have 2 people per person, and then me on front of the backs. Got it.
So go ahead and do you have a specific thing in your playbook for this, or do you want to roll plus sharp?
In my haven, it says you have a space for building, repairing guns, cars, and other gadgets. Work out with the keeper how long any repair or construction will take. And if you need extra supplies or help.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me 2d6 plus sharp.
Plus sharp, that is a 10.
So you think if you stay up all night, you could at least complete one of these? You could complete one of these. It's probably to make 2 full, 2 working, functioning, not going to break down on you forms of transportation. It might take you two essentially cracks at this. So you'd it's going to take you through the night to make this one, and then the next day you could, after you rest maybe a little bit, you can get back to it and make a second one out of the parts and things that they have already on board.
Okay. I think if we're going to be traveling during the day, I think one should be enough, especially if it's a sturdy one. Sturdy one. So, okay.
And with that 11, your brain kind of
10
with a 10. Yeah, even with a 10. Your brain kind of works on solutions that maybe you could also craft a
flamethrower?
No. What are they called? A sidecar. So, somebody's going to have 2 people are going to have to get comfy in the sidecar, but
this could be for Branwen and Kreg.
Or Money Man, I should say.
Or Money Man. Okay. So that you're working on that. Now we're going to go back over to Nikolai. So Nikolai, are you calling who I think you're calling?
Yep.
So you reach out, and it's a bit staticky. And there's that very, what's the word? Familiar, feeling that the call has been answered and they're waiting for you to speak.
And it's gonna be a little second, maybe like 10 very awkward, silent seconds. And I would think this individual knows that that might be a little odd.
Is there something wrong?
No, not yet.
Did something happen?
Many things happened. And
What have you learned?
this Mars is a dangerous place. We haven't even been inside, and it's already tearing this group apart.
Do you feel you'll still be able to accomplish your mission?
I will. I have faith in at least one of the individuals, perhaps two.
Faith. Do not place our bets on faith, you know that. On facts.
It was a poor choice in words, but yes. I have trust. Fact still intertwines with trust. I trust that this can happen. I just need. How do you do it? How do you look potential failure in the face and still trust that the facts will lead to a success?
Because of who we are. We do not fail. Our family does not fail. We always find a way. Failure is unacceptable.
We don't fail. And I
No.
have not failed yet. I don't plan to fail. It is against everything I have learned to fail, but I am not with family. And they can fail.
They are instruments. They are means to an end. Use them as such.
Okay. I just needed some affirmation, that's all. I don't rely on emotion, I rely on logic. There was a lot of emotion.
If you wanted emotion, you should have called your mother.
That's why I called you.
Good. Get it done. Use them. Learn what you can. And cut them loose.
I believe they're going to cut each other before I can cut them out of my life.
Perfect.
I will contact when I have more information. I believe we are going to the crashed transport ship before we go inside.
Understood. Call only when you have more information.
As you say, Father.
Good. And the line goes dead.
And as the line goes dead, he just kind of sits there, staring out. Just trying to think of all the solutions that he can come up with, hoping that the one that he picks doesn't require handling this. Because the way his family handles things is not what he wants for these four. But it doesn't mean it won't happen.
Okay. Then we'll get to Branwen. Where did you go after you left Mal's room?
Immediately, she tries to find the most isolated place to cool off, which is obviously not the room that she shares with Els. So she tries to find, honestly, probably even a supply closet will do.
Okay. Yeah, you find a closet for you to basically delve into.
As she closes the door, she kind of clenches and unclenches her hands, making sure that her claws are 100% retracted as much as they can be, and she kind of grits her teeth. And actually, out of character, I don't know if we actually discussed, can Bronwyn actually get in contact with her dad, not dad?
You can if you'd like. You can try.
Is there like a communication device? She doesn't really have. I guess she could try and use magic, but she just has magical force, not really anything else.
So it's not a skill that you've necessarily trained all that much.
Okay.
However, you do have not through magical means, but you do have a sending stone.
Sweet. Okay.
So you're gonna reach out to Ivar?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. So you hear some rustling, and you hear him go, "Is everything all right?"
She gets out the crystal that she still has and she plays it for him over the sending stone.
Fascinating. Well, have you investigated the crash site yet?
No, we just, the building where everyone was staying, half of it fell into the maw. We, investigated that first. There was something there. It was massive and it was powerful and it was not of this world. And some of the other members of the crew keep having visions.
Visions?
They keep seeing things.
What do they see?
I don't know. One of the members of the group specifically does have visions, just normally. They can see things.
That could be useful to you. Get close to them if you can. Learn what they see.
Absolutely.
Have you gone into the mall yet?
No.
Well, the less time you're there, the better.
I know. We'll do our best to make it quick. We're regrouping now. Hopefully
Are you okay?
No.
Talk to me. What's going on?
We've only been here for less than 24 hours, and it seems like everyone's already falling apart.
Well, this is what we get for getting people outside of the core. Well,
Els is proving to be incredibly useful.
Good. Well, what I'll say is you're strong. I trained you to be. And if they're gonna follow anyone, it's going to be you. You have that in you. And whatever you face, I know you can handle it.
You're right. I will do you proud.
I know you will. I'm always proud of you.
If I don't come back...
No. No, you come back or I drag you back myself.
Please don't come here.
That bad, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you make sure to come back then.
I will.
Atta girl.
And she hangs up.
Okay. All right. Kreg, you would hear whispering coming from a supply closet. As you're walking, back through the halls, you'd hear, you don't make out any words, but you just hear, like, voices coming from a place that's clearly marked, like, supplies.
And it just sounds like someone's just having a conversation, like
one-sided, yeah.
Or one side, okay. And I can't make out what's being said?
Not really, no.
Okay. I'll wait until the talking stops.
Okay.
And then sorry, just debating in my head.
Mm-hmm. Roll for it.
No, actually, no. I think it's just more fun this way. It'll be good this way. Kreg opens the broom closet, and I like to imagine he opens it kind of in that just slow, like very slow and cautious fashion.
And you see Branwen is on the floor, sitting there.
Before she says anything, Kreg drops down to one knee to get down to the level. Since you're kind of on the ground, he lowers himself down.
Yes.
I hesitate to ask. I don't imagine you would be very keen to tell me why you are in here.
I like cleaning.
Certainly.
Roll me sharp, Kreg. Roll me sharp, Kreg.
I got a 4.
Even with a 4, it's a terrible lie. It's so bad. It's the worst lie that has ever been spoken.
Perfect.
You needed to get like a 2 to not catch that.
Okay, cool.
Of course. Well, I merely was looking for you because I believe Kreg would not be, Mal would not be excited to see me given his current state, and so I believe he may want this back.
And you don't see me pull anything out of my jacket, but his pistol just appears.
You might want to hold on to it till later. I don't think he really wants to see me right now either.
Very well.
How do you handle stress, Kreg?
I've handled stress very little in my entire life. It has only been very recent that I've experienced it.
Your entire life, you've never felt stressed once, except for on this trip?
No, not this. This trip is certainly a very large source of stress. But no, I began experiencing stress some time ago. It is difficult to explain.
Seems like everybody on this ship has something that's very difficult to explain.
You see Kreg actually smile.
Yes.
Everyone has their own reasons for hiding one thing or another.
Right.
But I believe the best way to handle stress in the little time I've been experiencing it has been to have a goal. Focus on what is in front of you. Take that first step.
It's actually some solid advice, Kreg.
I like to think I know a few things.
And he offers his hand to help you stand up.
Okay. She takes it.
Do you do that? Do you do? Okay.
No.
One thing you notice about Kreg when you take his hand is how it feels so cold. There's no warmth to him.
You want to know what you feel when you touch Branwen's hand? She's very warm.
Where did the two of you go after your rendezvous in the supply closet?
Yeah, probably to find Els. I would go to find Els at this point. Regroup as much as we can. I either go to find Els or Dr. Nicolai, and then I'm going to tell Krieg that we should meet up in Els's lab. So whether you want to go to Els's lab, Kreg/Luke, or whether you want to go find Dr. Nicolai, up to you. I'm giving Mal space.
I want to talk to Nikolai.
Okay.
The doctor may be able to answer a question I have. But
got it. So,
Branwen,
go ahead.
before I go, Branwen, tomorrow we will find answers. And whether or not the answers will alleviate any stress you experience, we are all here together. At the very least, I hope you can rely on me.
I guess we'll have to see. And she walks to find Els.
You go to El's lab. You go into Nikolai's room. We're gonna cut over to Mal really quick. Mal, so you're just drinking in your room, yeah?
Nope.
No. What you doing?
I told you when I threw my flask at her.
Okay.
He
So you're just
decided not to
staring at the
drink.
wall.
He was. I imagine a little bit of time has gone by. It hasn't been hours by any means since everybody's kind of off. It's been a few minutes at the latest. But Mal gathers his thoughts. He realizes as he's kind of, in his tantrum, threw some things around. He checks his person and realizes that his gun's missing. And he doesn't recall anybody else picking it up. So he's going to put on his coat. And it's not on, but he's got it draped over his arm. And he's kind of fixing himself. And he wants to find the rest of the group. And in a moment of clarity, realize that perhaps asking questions right now is better than acting on impulse to just go out and look for his gun. So he wants to find the whatever party members he can.
You go to put on your coat, and then you turn to leave, and leaning against the door is what looks like Ben, but you now know not to be. And goes, Mal, where'd you go?
Not to cut this off, I have an important question.
Are the wards still on the ship?
Are the wards still up?
The wards are still up, but if we remember from when they were cast, there was basically there was a hiccup. There was a hiccup in the wards. So we know that from big, dangerous threats, you're protected, but not from everything.
Okay, continue.
Where you going, Mal?
Is he blocking the doorway, or is he
he's leaning on the basically so that your door was closed.
Just not
Branwen left. He's just leaning. He's leaning against the door.
No.
And goes, "Don't you want to find your brother, Mal?" He misses you terribly.
Mal doesn't look at whatever this is as he stands at the door frame. I'm going to rip everything you love away from you, if you even love anything.
Oh, Mal, you got such a great sense of humor.
Mal puts a fist to the door frame.
Oh, and you see, you see it just kind of passes through his head, and your fist is now kind of just through his head, and he goes, "Oh, you are just like your brother. You fight just like him." You want to see him, don't you? You want to know where he is?
I think I look at him for the first time. You are nothing like my brother. You're not even half the person.
Well, I spent a lot of time with him, so I tried to do my best. But Mal, let me shoot straight with you. Bring the group into the maw. And your brother lives. Lead them all the way down to the bottom. All the way down. You do that, you and your brother, scot-free. We'll let him go. But you take too long. Things just seem to rot down there.
How do I know you're telling the truth?
Ah. And he extends his hand and he goes, "May I?" As he, a finger begins to kind of extend.
I retract my fist. I don't say anything, but I don't stop him.
And where he would if he was there really touch you, he puts a finger right here. And it's, for a brief moment, there's a cacophony of noise, of voices, thousands, millions, all speaking over each other at once, but it lasts for a second, and then you open your eyes and you're in this dark space. There's that salty smell of decay and rotten eggs in your nose, on your tongue, and you feel saturated by it. And as your eyes begin to adjust, you can faintly see light above you as it kind of sets in that, like, up there, way up there is the top of the maw, the entrance to the maw. And then your eyes begin to look around you, and you see everything is covered in these roots of black tentacles all over the walls and the floor. And you see dark shapes moving amongst the shadows. And you see this version of Ben is standing next to you, and he just kind of waves a hand. And you see along the wall, some of the tentacles begin to kind of pull and gnarl backwards, unfolding. And you see the real Ben within these tentacles, bound and wrapped. He doesn't seem to be conscious. He doesn't seem to be dead either. He's just there. And he goes, see? It's right there. All the way down at the bottom, waiting for you. He cried out your name so many times. The restaurant, the bar sounds nice.
Why are you doing this?
All are welcome in the collective, Mal.
You son of a bitch. And I lunge at him.
And then you lunge and basically hit your head on the door, and he's gone.
Fuck.
And you're back in your room.
I, having fully intended to strangle this thing to death, and now hitting my head as hard as possible, kind of in a dizzy, I stumble out into the hall a little bit and try to find whoever I can.
Okay, so now we're going to kind of go in topsy-turvy round robin. We're going to go Kreg over to Nikolai's room.
When I get there, I just do a knock on the door.
There's a moment before you hear something. Perhaps the sound of someone like getting up off the floor. And as the door kind of gets pans open, you might see like a couple of crystals on the ground, hinting that he was in some kind of meditative state. How can I help you?
I apologize for the interruption.
It is fine.
We all must gather in L's laboratory soon, but I have a question that I was wondering if you could shed some light.
Does it involve them all?
Well, by extension. The visions that Mal is experiencing. Can you feel them or see them?
That's a good question. I was going to be curious. I am curious. Oh my God, Curious George. I was going to, with my sight, I can see invisible things, especially spirits and magical influences and such. Did I get any type of vibe when Mal was talking to someone, staring in the area? It's not necessarily spirit, but it is a influence. It's that kind of metaphysical power.
Roll me sharp.
Okay.
No, roll me weird. It's weird. Yeah.
Ooh. That's my first technical failure. That's a 6.
What you get from this, in like thinking about it, is the unsettling feeling that normally you see ghosts, you see spirits, magical influence, what have you, but the fact that you didn't see anything at all sinks in. That you couldn't see what Mal was seeing, you couldn't see what was influencing Mal, which doesn't track, doesn't make sense. You're supposed to be, you have the sight, you should be able to see these things. You've trained your entire life to be able to see beyond the veil. But the fact that you couldn't scares you probably more than what you would have seen anyways.
Elves don't really show a lot of fatigue. You can tell, like, in his eyes, even in that last 24 hours, it's not that he's tired, he's just exhausted in many ways. But he kind of like pauses and tries to think. No. I did not see the reason he threw himself and almost cost his mission. No.
Would I, just off context of knowing that Nikolai has seen dead people or seen visions of people as well?
I mean, we had the whole thing with the ghost that was in
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the facility. Yeah.
And I was like there as
Yeah.
Nico
And
was
in the
talking
ship.
to him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, would I get the sense that this is unnerving to Nico? That he didn't see it?
Nikolai, I'll give that up to you.
You can tell that it's a problem and his eyes are searching how to solve that problem.
Huh.
And if he's searching for the solution and doesn't already have it, that's the unnerving part.
Okay.
We can also tell that, like, he's not at this very second in time. You could tell that his focus isn't necessarily that something was there, because he believes he can figure that part out. His mind is on something completely different, though a part of the same whole.
Well, I suppose if I should also begin seeing things, I will let you know. And within that context, there was a shadow.
Shadows are apparent, and I saw many of them, and the things that I witnessed. What did you see?
I was up on the prow of the ship. I simply looking out towards the mall, watching the sun set beyond it. And yet from behind me, covering the ship, was a great and dark shadow. That of some massive humanoid. And it quickly disappeared.
If Mal has seen things, whether in mirrors or with his own eyes, and you are seeing shadows, and I am witnessing the bottom of a desolate pit, it means this creature, this entity, whatever is down there, has power to manipulate and perhaps terrorize. At this point, it is evident that there is something there, and I am almost expecting to find things around every corner. It is how we go forward that is going to make sure that this mission is a success. I believe all of us are competent to realize what we got ourselves into. I say I believe, but I've been taught not to have faith.
Having no faith at all is dangerous, in my experience. And so with that, I ask for you to have a little faith in me. Since we are all seeing things, I hope we can rely on each other to provide clarity, even when much is confused. And so I offer you this. And Kreg offers his hand, and you see it is just already bleeding. There's a cut that you didn't see him make.
He kind of looks at the hand. You could tell he's slightly confused at the intention.
Blood has power. You clearly can do much with it. If you have a means of containing it.
He's going to move back and just grab a vial. He's kind of still watching, but he will cup his own hand underneath Craig's and almost tip it and gather some of it. But as he's doing that, he locks his eyes with Kreg.
Kreg maintains eye contact with you as he just squeezes his hand into a fist to allow the blood to just drip.
Am I going to have to make an enemy out of people on this ship?
I have faith that you won't.
And I just leave.
As he holds the vial, kind of just looks at it for a moment, looks back out the door. But faith is not guided by fact.
Really quick, give me a magic roll, please.
Well,
so as he goes, you say what you say. So this vial of blood, you are experienced with using, blood as totems and things like that and learning things about the people. This blood that came from Kreg gives off a level of magic that you have only met one person in your entire life to have this much strength. And it's your father. You've only met one other person who this level of power meets this level of arcane power. And perhaps exceeds. You're not sure, but as it's in your hand, you can feel it almost boom, pulsing in a way from this vial of blood.
he is going to take that, and his face contorts from curiosity to concern, looking back down the way.
As you see Kreg striding towards the lab.
And he just whispers to himself, "Who are you?"
Okay. And then we go to the lab where the crew has gathered, at least 4 the five have gathered in the lab. Unless Branwen, you wanted to have a conversation with Els first before everybody else arrived.
I'll actually leave that up to Jackie.
Els is pretty preoccupied, so if there's anything that you want to, yeah, literally you just hear again like the blowtorch you see from like the window of the lab room, just like, you know, and things like that. And it's the night, so it's not done yet, right? The car's not done yet, but like the infrastructure has started, kind of thing. Because I think you gave me the night to do one car.
Yes,
So
you
if
can
I
make
just-
one of these snowmobiles.
Okay, so if I just started, then I have like the infrastructure made. But Els has the little ichor in that heat container with the polymer glass on the table, and every once in a while she just kind of peeks over and kind of looks at it to see if the day versus night has any effect on it. But
It's so uncomfortable because of the heat, so it doesn't really do anything different besides trying to get away from the floor, as it has been. The floor of the cage, I mean.
oh yeah, she just kind of peeks over, then continues like blowtorching and.
Okay, so then unless there's anything else for you, Sydney, I would say then it would be you arrive, Mal soon after, and then Kreg last, and then we'll figure out if Dr. Nicolai joins or not.
He was, because he told Greg told him to do it, so he's going to 100% kind of start the process of almost. He's going to, oh my God, this is so sciencey. He's going to take that blood, he's going to start putting it in different vials, and then he's going to start distilling one.
Got it. Got it. Understood.
Yep, he's just going to start, what is this made out of? Everything else is going to wait by itself, but that's, he'll eventually go.
Got it. So the group you are all met now within the lab. Take it away.
Mal's got a cold beverage on his forehead. And he's just nursing his head for a second. Waits till everybody gets there. And just kind of speaks to everybody. He's like, can I talk to you guys as a group? Obviously, some bad choices have been made by yours truly. And I think I am now at a point where I have to be honest with you all. My name is Malsidious. Mal for short. I'm not part of the Corps. I'm not part of any special group. I'm here for my brother. And I keep seeing my brother. And earlier today was the closest I'd been to finding him. Which begs the question, has anybody seen what I can see? Or have I just been chasing ghosts? Because I feel like I'm going crazy.
Nico's kind of just staring in the back. A little tense in the mouth area and the jaw as Mal is speaking. You haven't been chasing ghosts, but it doesn't mean you haven't seen what you have seen.
Okay. Doesn't bring me as much solace as I had hoped, but whatever this thing is, be it sentient, be it evil or neutral or a creature, a god, whatever it is, it came to me in the doorway of my room.
On the ship?
On this ship.
You can see Nico's eyes immediately go fractal as he starts to look around at the ward.
The wards are in place.
Yeah, he knows that, but he immediately, you see him start looking past the physical for a second.
So Mal, when you look up and you say in the ship, you see next to Els is Ben. And goes, don't ruin the fun, Mal. You tell them what we talked about. Benny boy might not last too long.
Els, I'm looking past you.
Where in the ship did you see it?
My room.
How long ago?
Attaboy. And you see he just kind of fades.
I don't remember. I hit my head. I was trying to lunge at it. Again, choices.
But it's not tangible.
No, my fist and my head say otherwise. Yeah, it's yeah.
Peculiar.
I think we have to go into the maw.
We have data to collect.
I know. But
Can
it's
I
there waiting.
Sorry.
No.
He's kind of listening, but kind of not. He's definitely listening, but he's doing the thing where instead of giving half and half, he's giving 100 and 100, and that's just not good. But I would like to attempt to read a bad situation.
Yeah, please go ahead.
If something breached the wards, because we as players know that, or unless I'll ask this. I know that we as players know that his ward wasn't as effective. Did Nikolai believe it was that effective? Does he believe there was some cracks in it?
You know that it was a bit unstable when you said it, but generally your wards have been strong enough to keep out pretty much anything. Okay.
Then with that being said, I would like to read a bad situation to try to ascertain what or how something. I mean, again, based on the conversation he just had with Kreg, he knows he's just expecting things to just pop up at this point, but he also put his own safeguards up, so now he's worried. So he just want to kind of read the room quite literally.
Yep. Go ahead and read a bad situation.
That's an 11.
Ooh.
You.
So you begin to look around, and checking your wards and feeling it. And you see a couple of strands in the net are loose of the magical wards that were set around the ship. They just weren't as, tight enough to keep anything and everything out. It's just enough space for something to slip through. If you would like to ask any of the questions on the list, go ahead and ask. Because you rolled a 10.
Immediately, are any dangers I haven't noticed?
So you have the sight, right? Where you can see beyond the metaphysical, beyond the material plane. And you have a very, high intellect, right? Very advanced mind. And you've dealt with all sorts of things because of your past, your experience, all sorts of that. What it feels like in this moment is like you're standing in the shade. And what I mean by that is that something just out of reach. It's not in the material plane, it's not in the astral plane, it's somewhere in between. But it's casting a large shadow on all of you. And with that information, or unless you got another question?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead. Because you get 3, so.
I think I'm only going to ask 2. I don't see the other reason for the others on the list.
Okay. Well, if there's something more specific, feel free to ask it. That you can think of.
And that's what it's going to be.
Okay.
What's the biggest threat in this room?
Knowing what you know from the vial of blood.
Let me rephrase that.
Yeah. Beyond the group?
He's not, let me say it right, because he's not worried about power level.
Okay. Like threat. Like something that is intending to harm you.
Yes. What is the biggest threat to the integrity of the group in this room?
The greatest threat to the integrity of this room, with what Mal has said and what Mal did, and what you have seen and what some others have seen, the biggest threat to the integrity of the group is the fact that this thing can mess with your minds without magic. Because it's not using magic. Because you would see it. You would see these things as well. So now I need you to roll me sharp.
Another 11.
With that in mind, with all of this kind of information that you have all received from all of the research and everything like that, a history lesson comes back to you about the collective and about the drowned king. That the drowned king was so powerful and so formidable is because he did not use magic. He used psionic abilities. And with that 11, you know that the collective, his basically underlings, his beings that he created, all were of one mind. And he controlled them with this psionic ability. And so whatever is out there, whatever, is in there or that you have been facing, it's not many beings. It's most likely a singular being.
Okay. Notes. Okay. He just you see his eyes unfractalized. It's not a word, but it is now. And
Get on it, Webster.
Right. His eyes immediately just lock onto Mal.
What's everybody else doing while Mal has revealed that he saw something in his room and tried to fight it, essentially?
I'm pressing for more information. Els is
okay, go ahead.
going into science mode. So she asked how long ago it happened, that it wasn't tangible.
You weren't able to touch it, but was it able to touch you?
It didn't try to interact with me.
Has anyone else seen this mind magic?
She just kind of looks around at everyone.
I saw a great shadow, like of a giant person. But the shadow was moving towards the setting sun, not away from it.
I haven't seen anything.
Nikolai, what about you?
No one is going to be able to see.
Huh?
Truly. From my understanding, this is more than we could have realized.
How so?
If it has the ability to breach one's mind without trying, without the use of rituals and spell work, It has the ability to cast these shadows, though the sun doesn't allow for it. It has these abilities to lure people using their family as a weapon. I'm afraid we are dealing with something that He pauses immediately. You can tell that he's going into a level of doubt, and he suddenly reels that back in. We are going to handle this. We are going to prep ourselves. But I might need to put myself in harm's way just a little to make sure we are
Expand
okay.
on that.
Where's your sample?
It's so you see that she's kind of perched on this hanging skeleton of a motorcycle by chains, and she just kind of points to the little polyglass sample on the desk.
That.
I believe, and I can act this in character too, but if he has a way to do it, then he doesn't need to act in character. Do we have a way to handle that without touching it with our hands? Let me rephrase that. We have it locked in a box and things like that, but if I need to get to it and perhaps take a sample of the sample, do we have a way to do that?
I feel like that would be a question more for Els.
I figured that. I'll look at. I don't think I know science, but you have the equipment. I know more arcane science. Anywho, I need some of that.
As you are able to encapsulate it in a hot environment, I fear any leaks, openings of the container I have may cause it to grow at an exponential rate.
I'm going to be quite blunt. I believe we already have a leak. His eyes immediately look to Mal before they look back to you. That is not my concern. I need something. If we are going to do this, I need to try something. And no disrespect to any of you. This is my area of expertise.
If I also may speak blatantly, I don't want us to repeat what happened potentially on the other ship. It was compromised. Forgive me for doubting your credentials, but this thing, as you just stated, is something greater than we could have ever imagined.
If you have the tools, and I know that you do, I've seen your work. If you have the equipment to isolate, we can keep it heated. I just need a drop.
I would like to use my preparedness, meaning when you need something unusual or rare, I roll a sharp on a +10. I have it.
Okay, go ahead and roll.
Could I attempt to help?
Yeah, give the help action.
No, I'm not.
No, okay, all right.
I have
all
a
right.
-1 in my goal. Nope.
Okay. 7 + 2, that's a 9. So on a 7 to 9, I have it. It's
Yes.
just not here. It'll take time to get it.
So you think you could come up with a means to transfer it safely? Like, it's going to take you some time on your project list, or, unsafely, you could basically handle it with gloves and try to, extract a piece quickly. I see Mal has his hand up. Mal, yes.
As they're kind of talking back and forth, Mal's not a scientist by any means, but Mal kind of just looks at them, looks at the cube, and he's like, could we superheat this room while he uses the glob and just keep them both contained in here?
Do I happen to know what temperature keeps this creature at bay?
Presently, it's like above
I know
95.
I had a hot plate at one point.
Right. It's like above 95 degrees Fahrenheit.
Unless you're comfortable sweating in a room together.
I mean, I'm not going to be sweating with that thing. I just try to punch it.
No. Do not attack my specimen.
I don't want to be near that thing, first of all.
I don't think any of us wants you near it either.
All right. Okay. I get it. As he puts the can back on his head.
Go sit in the corner.
So,
He sits in the corner next to your stuff.
So I think L's in, hilariously enough, L from Death Note in the same kind of hunch position.
No. No, I said nice.
Oh, I said no.
No, I said nice.
Sitting
Yeah,
on the
it's
countertop. I think she's just kind of going back and forth with Dr. Nicolai, and she says,
Potentially, I could create gloves that have a copper wire through them that could heat up your hands to the point where you could handle the specimen. My fear is the surrounding air around it. If it tries at all to get through fingers, cracks, openings, we are its prey. Are you willing to try it?
He doesn't respond, but you see his eyes fractalizing, as if he is focusing.
I grab the blowtorch that Els was using. Worst
Put
case
it
scenario.
down.
All right, I'm not going to touch that thing.
Put it down.
Nobody likes my ideas anymore.
Do I happen to know what the fractalite?
You can tell that he is in work mode.
Okay.
It's probably something you've seen before just from your short time together back at the core.
Okay, so then I'm going to take that as a yes, and she's going to start making the copper wire gloves.
Mm-hmm.
Allows him to kind of be in his own space, and she kind of turns around at Mal's and is like,
I don't want you near this, but the blowtorch was a good idea. Branwen!
so then she calls to Branwen.
Smiles.
The blowtorch might be a good, centralized flame source, but potentially we may need something larger.
And one of the gears that we talked about that I have is an actual flamethrower.
Yes, it is.
So I'm going to take out this really dinky looking like potato spud shooter that you see in the store, and I'm going to give it to Branwen and be like,
Careful. That is very dangerous.
and it cocks and a button on the side. So as soon as you lock it, you just see the end of the pipe start to glow red, and there's a button that emits the gas, which then causes it to become a flamethrower. So she's going to just kind of.
It is travel size. Be careful with it, please. It is my only one.
And then she's gonna sit back in front of Dr. Nicolai and just kind of wait until the fractalizing goes away.
He is mostly just mentally preparing himself. And once the physical machinations are ready, he doesn't know how long it's going to take to actually be able to abstract. But he will, he gets his gloves on, he does the whole Grey's Anatomy medical montage, washing his hands, all those things, gloves, more gloves, tape,
Him walking with a cane for no reason all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And they're like, this could be it. You're like, you're wrong. You're all wrong.
It's lupus.
I'm gonna look to Kreg and I'm going to ask,
is there anything you would like to do to contribute to this? I don't know. What resources you have? Apparently you have necklaces.
Just the one. But this is not my area of expertise, I will trust the experts.
She hands you the blowtorch.
Try to contribute.
Very well.
Is there anything I can help with?
No. You let me know if you see the ghost again.
Mal just kind of sinks back into his chair.
Okay, so you begin this procedure, Dr. Nicolai.
I also have my juju bag at the ready.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead and roll me. Let's see here. Go ahead and roll me. Let's do magic. Roll me magic.
For me?
Yes, you. Because you're doing the operation, right?
Yes, to try to extract the drop.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no.
Nervous.
Yeah, well, you're not the one that's fucking unarmed.
Wow.
Good rolls ran out.
That's a 6.
Okay.
Fuck.
Is there any way
Mark
I can help?
it.
Is it cool?
Roll the help out.
So 2d6 plus cool, is that what it is?
Yes, indeed.
Oh, please. Ooh, 11!
11. So, your help lets them act as if they just rolled a 12, regardless of what they got.
Yes!
So as you see Nikolai begins this operation, you can see he's about to like basically expose part of his skin as he like it's avoiding him as he's trying to get it, and you see it's about to move, and you kind of pin it, in place so that he can grab it.
Got it.
And you extract this drop, and it's wiggling and wriggling and writhing. Thank you. In your hand. What do you do with it, Nikolai?
I'm intending, I would get another vial. One of the sturdier ones, not just like the small glass ones, get ones that are a little more sturdy. I'm going to intend to put it into the thing and immediately cork it.
Give me an act under pressure to cork it.
Why did I think he was going to eat it?
Same. I had the same thought.
Yeah.
I was so scared for a moment.
Yeah, it's very Men in
Spirited
Black.
Away.
Yeah.
This is what happens.
Oh.
As I've rolled a 4.
Okay, mark experience for me.
I'm going to wait. Because I'm only waiting because I don't know if it still does it or not. But as you see, perhaps he grabbed the wrong vial. That he thought he grabbed one of the sturdier ones.
Okay. Oh, okay. Alec, for a second, thought you had Craig's blood.
No.
Okay, God.
Oh,
Oh my God.
no.
The fact that he was worried about that.
Alec about peed himself there.
We just end the campaign there.
Perhaps he grabbed the wrong vial, and perhaps he gripped it too tight. You're not sure. But as he goes to push the cork down, sometimes you can it's the idea of hitting a glass bottle too hard that it just shatters. That happens.
No!
So I'm gonna just. Oh,
I'm doing it on purpose. As it shatters, it's like 4 different voices at once scream out, "No!" And as he does, the fractal suddenly put it back together as I used a luck point to make it an auto 12.
ooh, very nice. As you see it, it was literally as the thing was shattering, you see the thing was literally about to shoot towards your face, and you catch it right here in front of your face. And as it's now in these fractals, this fractal cage.
And
you put it into the vial again. You reconstructed the vial around it.
It reconstructs, and it's almost like the Kinsaguri, as it's golden
Yeah.
like throughout where the cracks are, and he just puts it back together. Just
You have your specimen. Now what do you want with it?
a test. A test that will take some time.
Would you like help?
You have given me as much help as I believe you can offer at this very moment.
That's fair, Dr. Nicolai. But I think at least one of us with a flamethrower, she looks back at Kreg, should be with you while you conduct this experiment. Just in case.
You see his eyes look up to Kreg, then look back at you, because you also have a flamethrower. Then you can join.
I think Els just kind of takes Branwen and just kind of like tugs at her and just like,
Make sure he doesn't use all of it. That was mine.
I will.
Okay.
Testing to do.
And he's going to eventually just gather himself and
Head off to do the experiment.
And less of an experiment, but yes, he's going to head back to his room.
Okay. So we're going to follow Branwen and Nikolai back to Nikolai's room. So tell me, what are you going to do, Dr. Nicolai?
As we get into my room, I'm going to close the door. I'm going to lock the door. I'm going to quickly use magic. Let's see how I do. Yeah, I got a 9+, whatever. I'm going to intend to seal the door with magic.
Okay.
Magically.
Yeah. You see the wards kind of this fractal energy, almost like the door for a second looks like a stained glass window, and then it kind of fades into the door.
He looks to Branwen. I'm not going to ask, do you trust me? Because I believe that's not the important question right now. Do you have... Can you accept what I'm about to do? Without revealing to the others.
If there's one thing I'm very good at, it's keeping secrets.
I will promise you this is not intended to harm anyone, nor am I doing this to keep them out of the loop. I just need to make sure. And if I fail, I need you to make sure that we don't leave this room. I'm going to sit into the middle of my floor. No, I'm not. I'm going to start gathering some things. Bronwyn's going to see me grab one of the random vials that has this blood in it. I'm going to start laying out almost like it's not even a pentagram. It's like a septagram. I don't know. Just a lot of points.
I failed geometry. I have no idea.
Lots of points, almost like these eldritch, almost like Enochian symbols and things of that nature. Like you see me putting out a rune on the ground. I'm intending to do some big magic.
Okay.
My intent, knowing now what I know about Kreg's blood, knowing whom I descend from, and knowing that this specimen is powerful.
Correct.
I am going to attempt to fuse the specimen. Remember, I split it up, some of Kreg's blood and my own, to create an elixir or a phial or something that's going to ward us from the psionic power, or at least the psionic intrusions that is connected to the collective, using the raw power of both myself and whatever the hell Kreg is.
Okay.
Sorry. When the game master stutters.
I know this is an ask, and I don't know what's going to come out of it, but he
roll
is
for it.
trying to, knowing this is psionic, and it's hard to stop psionics, he at least wants to make something that can act as a barrier.
Right. Go ahead and roll me your use magic.
Don't you fucking just take a hit of your vape like that?
One's a 5. I'm rolling these separately because I'm scared.
6.
5 on the die. That's a 12.
Okay. 1 second.
Buffering.
So here's what happens.
Buffering.
You begin this ritual. You begin to twist these 3 things together. Your own, Kreg's blood, your blood, Kreg's blood, and this specimen. You begin to twist them together with the intention and the idea in your mind and willing that you need something to protect you against the psionic influence, and you need to protect those in this group from the psionic influence of this thing, whatever this is that you are all facing. You begin to twist it, and Branwen, you see the furniture in the room begins to like tremble. And it feels like the room itself is, the ship itself is shaking. The rest of you don't feel a damn thing over in the lab, but the room is vibrating. It is shaking with strength and with power. As you see more and more as these streams, very much like, think Avatar when he can control all 4 elements, begin to kind of twist around each other and begin to now sort of begin to blend this almost shimmering red blood that he pulled out of this vial, his black blood or not black blood, his like almost like darker, like Nikolai's blood has just a darker hue to it. Almost, there's a bit of a shimmer, but it's maroon, but like darker,
Like
darker.
Ichor?
Not ichor. Anyways, and then you see the little black specimen begin to twist with the blood as it begins to kind of compress together in this multicolored ball, and the room begins to vibrate and shake more. And in both of your heads, you hear screams and shouts of millions. And it compresses and it compresses and it compresses tighter and tighter and tighter. And the light around the room seems to almost bend, like it's being pulled in towards this. And Branwen, I need you to roll me. I need you to roll me plus tough, please.
It's a good thing I'm good at that. All right, let's go. Okay, all right. Not the worst thing in the world. That is a 10.
Okay. You're able to keep your footing as you see the furniture and everything around begin to be pulled towards Nikolai and this ball of rotating liquid as you're able to keep your footing. And then in a flash, in a moment, like in between blinks, it moves so quickly. Both of you take a sharp breath. And the ball of liquid is gone. The room is quiet. And the room is still. And in both of your heads, you hear, all are welcome in the collective. And that's where we're going to stop for tonight.
Oh my god! My specimen!
Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us for episode 3 of Mysteries of the Maw.
Hey, we survived.
You did. Maybe. I've been your game master, Alec the Bard. Thank you so much to Latinos Against Spooky Shit as Mal. Thank you so much to Tumidlynx as Kreg. Thank you so much to Jackie Elena Chan as Els. Thank you so much to Critical Bard as Dr. Nicolai. And thank you, Sydney of Hightower as Branwen. We will see you next time, everybody. Bye.